wind was howling, and the rain was beating down relentlessly upon the small boat as it tossed and turned in the angry sea. The trainer and his faithful Pokemon, Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur, clung to the sides of the boat for dear life as they rode out the storm, but the storm was too powerful, and the boat was no match for its wrath. With a deafening crack, the boat split in two, and the trainer and his Pokemon were thrown into the churning sea. The Pokemon fought to stay afloat as the waves battered them about. Their cries for help were lost in the howling wind, and they soon found themselves washed up on the shore of a deserted island. Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur lay on the cold, wet sand, shivering and exhausted. They were alone and separated from their trainer, who they assumed was lost at sea. As they struggled to their feet, they looked around and realized they were in a strange and unfamiliar place. The island was shrouded in mist, and the air was thick with the scent of salt and seaweed. The Pokemon were hungry and thirsty, and they needed to find shelter and food if they were to survive. They stumbled along the shore, looking for signs of life, but there was none to be found. The beach stretched on for miles, with no sign of civilization in sight. The Pokemon were lost and alone, with no idea of what lay ahead. But they were not afraid. These were Pokemon of courage and determination, and they knew that they would find a way to survive, no matter what challenges lay in their path. With renewed determination, Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur set out into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead. They did not know what their future held, but they were confident that with each other they could overcome anything. The Pokemon trudged through the rain and wind, seeking shelter from the relentless storm. Their fur and skin were soaked through, and they shivered with cold as they stumbled upon a dark and damp cave. It was a relief to finally have a dry place to rest, even if it wasn't entirely safe. As they entered the cave, Pikachu led the way with a flicker of electricity illuminating their path. The cave was larger than they anticipated, and they found that it was already occupied by a group of angry Diglets. The Diglets glared at the Pokemon and made low growling noises, warning them to leave. Squirtle spoke up, hoping to reason with the Diglets. "We mean you no harm. We are just looking for a place to stay until the storm passes." But the Diglets were not interested in making friends. They attacked the Pokemon with fury, and the Pokemon were forced to flee. Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur rushed out of the cave, grateful to have escaped unscathed. The rain was relentless, and the Pokemon searched for another place to take shelter. They soon came across a small grove of trees that provided some cover from the rain. They huddled together, sharing their body heat to keep warm as they waited for the storm to pass. As the hours passed, they discussed their predicament and tried to come up with a plan. They knew that they needed to find a safe place to live if they were going to survive on this island, but they also knew that it wasn't going to be easy. The Pokemon, exhausted and hungry from their journey, wander through the dense jungle of the island. They stumble upon a clearing, and in the center stands a massive Pokemon taller than any of them. The Alakazam's eyes glow with an eerie light as it watches them approach. Pikachu takes a step forward, trying to make contact. The Alakazam narrows its gaze and telepathically sends a warning to stay back. Pikachu feels the power of the Alakazam's mind, but the determination in its eyes suggests that this is a Pokemon who has been through some hardship. Squirtle, ever the diplomat, steps forward, trying to find common ground with the Alakazam. But it's clear that the Pokemon is not interested in making friends. It seems angry and jaded, with a heart full of pain and hurt. Charmander, sensing the tension, starts to growl in warning, but Bulbasaur takes a different approach. It begins to sing a gentle melody, and the Alakazam's eyes soften. Suddenly, the Pokemon looks like it's on the brink of tears, but it quickly became enraged, thinking of how it had been betrayed by those closest to him. The battle was fierce, and the tension was palpable as the Pokemon squared off against the Alakazam. Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur had never faced such a powerful opponent before, and they knew that they were in for a tough fight. The Alakazam, jaded and angry from being abandoned by its trainer, was a formidable adversary. Its eyes glowed with a fierce determination, and its psychic abilities were second to none. The Pokémon sprang into action, darting around the battlefield and dodging Alakazam's powerful attacks. Pikachu let out a powerful bolt of lightning, but Alakazam was too quick and dodged the attack with ease. Squirtle tried to use its water powers to douse Alakazam's flames, but Alakazam had already predicted the move and countered with a psychic blast. Charmander was up next, and it knew that it had to use all of its strength to take down the Alakazam. It focused its energy and let out a powerful stream of flames which engulfed Alakazam in a fiery inferno. But to the Pokemon's surprise, Alakazam emerged from the flames unscathed. Bulbasaur realized that brute force wasn't going to work against the Alakazam, and it had an idea. It used its vines to bind Alakazam's arms, preventing it from using its psychic powers. The Alakazam struggled to break free, but Bulbasaur's vines were too strong. Pikachu seized the opportunity and launched another bolt of lightning, striking Alakazam right in the chest. The Alakazam stumbled backward, but it refused to give up. It used its psychic powers to break free of Bulbasaur's vines and launched a final attack. The Pokémon braced themselves for the worst, but to their surprise, Alakazam stopped mid-attack. It looked at the Pokémon with a newfound respect, and it realized that they were not like its previous trainer. They were kind and understanding, and they were willing to help it heal from its trauma. The battle was over, but the real work had just begun. The Pokémon knew that they needed to help the Alakazam heal, and they were determined to do whatever it took to make things right. With a psychic jolt, the Alakazam falls to the ground, overwhelmed by its emotions. The Pokémon are shocked at the display of vulnerability, but they sense that this is an opportunity to connect with the Alakazam on a deeper level. The Pokémon gather around the Alakazam and they start to talk to it about its past. They learn that the Alakazam was once a Kadabra, traded by its trainer to someone who didn't want an Alakazam, so the trainer abandoned Alakazam when he evolved during the trade. Feeling betrayed and abandoned, the Alakazam has been living alone on the island ever since. The Pokémon offer empathy and understanding, sharing stories of their own experiences and hardships. They hope to help the Alakazam heal from its trauma and move on from its past. As the sun begins to set, the Alakazam seems to soften. It starts to see the other Pokémon as potential friends, and it even shares some of its own wisdom and knowledge with them. The Pokémon feel grateful for this new connection, and they hope that they can continue to build a relationship with the Alakazam. Charmander takes a step forward, its tail flickering nervously. "Are you okay?" it asks, its voice soft and gentle. The Alakazam looks up, its eyes filled with anger and sadness. "Why do you care?" it snaps. "You were just trying to defeat me a moment ago." Pikachu steps forward next, a determined expression on its face. "We were fighting you because we thought you were a threat," it explains. "But now we understand that you were just hurt and angry." The Alakazam snorts, but Pikachu continues. "We've all been through tough times. Our trainer's boat sank and we're stranded here too. But we found a way to survive, and we can help you too." The Alakazam's eyes narrow, and it looks at Pikachu with suspicion. "Why would you help me?" it asks, its voice low and menacing. Pikachu takes a deep breath. "Because we believe that Pokémon can change if given a second chance," it says. "We want to help you heal from your trauma, and we think that we can do it together." The Alakazam stares at Pikachu for a moment, its eyes searching for any sign of deceit. But then it sighs, its shoulders slumping in defeat. "I guess I don't have much of a choice, do I?" it mutters. The Pokémon gather around the Alakazam, and they spend the next few hours talking and sharing stories. They talk about their past experiences and their hopes for the future. The Alakazam listens intently, its eyes softening with each passing moment. As the sun begins to set, the Pokémon gather around the fire they've made, and they share a meal of berries and nuts. The Alakazam sits next to Pikachu, its eyes still filled with sadness, but also with a glimmer of hope. "I'm sorry for the way I acted. it says, its voice barely above a whisper. I've been alone for so long that I forgot what it's like to have friends. Pikachu smiles warmly. We all make mistakes, it says, but it's never too late to start over. The other Pokemon nod in agreement, and they spend the rest of the evening talking and laughing together. The Alakazam still has a long way to go before it fully heals from its trauma, but for the first time in a long time, it feels like it's not alone anymore. As the Pokemon settle down for the night, they feel a sense of peace and belonging. They have found a new home, and they have learned the importance of forgiveness and second chances. The Pokemon had come a long way since they first washed up on the sandy shore of the deserted island. They had survived fierce battles, made new friends, and learned the importance of forgiveness and second chances. But now they faced a new challenge, building a new home. The Pokemon worked tirelessly, using their unique abilities to gather resources and construct a new shelter. Pikachu, with its lightning-fast speed, helped to gather sticks and stones for the foundation. Charmander, with its fiery breath, helped to light the way, and Bulbasaur, with its powerful vines, helped to pull heavy rocks into place. The Alakazam, who had once been hostile and jaded, had become an integral part of the community. Its psychic abilities helped to move heavy objects, and its intelligence helped to plan the layout of the new shelter. As the days passed, the Pokemon worked tirelessly, driven by the desire to create a safe and happy home for themselves and their new friends. They dug deep into the earth, creating rooms and tunnels. They built a large central room where they could all gather together, and smaller rooms for each of them to sleep in. The Pokemon also worked to gather food and resources. Bulbasaur used its vines to pull fresh berries from the trees, while Squirtle dove into the water to catch fish. Charmander used its fiery breath to cook the food, and Pikachu used its electric powers to power the new shelter's lighting system. As the days turned into weeks, the Pokemon began to settle into their new home. They had created a safe and happy community where they could all live together, each using their unique abilities to contribute to the group. But the Pokemon knew that their work was not yet done. There were other Pokemon out there who needed their help, who were lost and alone just like they had been. And so, the Pokemon made a pact to always be ready to help those in need, to use their abilities to create a better world for all Pokemon. As they looked out at the vast sea beyond their new home, the Pokemon knew that there would be more challenges ahead. But with each other by their side, they were ready to face whatever the future held. They had come a long way from being lost and alone on a deserted island, and they knew that they had the strength, resilience, and love to conquer any obstacle that lay ahead.